Before we start the show, we just want to let you know that we're part of the Bard Rock Network, sponsored by Dragon Master Games. Dragon Master Games is a local game store with an online storefront where you can get TTRPG products and collectibles, including trading cards. Just go to their website in the show notes and write in the comments that Bard Rock Network sent you. You can also support the network by subscribing to our Patreon or Ko-fi to access network-wide bonus content, get shout-outs on network shows, receive network swag, and even get invited to our several annual community game nights. Anyway, on with the show.
And welcome to College of Whispers, the actual play book club. This is the first episode of our new show. My name is Marty, and I'm joined by my co-host, Vicky. Say hello.
Hello.
Oh boy, here we are at episode 1.
I know.
So we made this show on the premise that there are so many actual play shows out there.
Yes.
A truly ridiculous amount. How are you ever going to watch or listen to them all? Well, you're not. But that's why we're here, because we like listening and watching actual plays, and we want to tell you about them.
Mm-hmm.
So, for our first ever topic of the day, we will be discussing Dimension 20 Fantasy High.
Starting with the good stuff.
Starting with the good stuff. We had to start on a high note. So, for a little background information, Dimension 20 first premiered on September 19th, 2018 on College Humor's streaming service Dropout. The cast is Brennan Lee Mulligan as the DM, Lou Wilson as Fabian Seacaster, Allie Beardsley as Kristen Applebees, Siobhan Thompson as Adine Abernant, Zach Oyama as Gorga Thistlespring, Brian Murphy as Riz Gutgak, and Emily Axford as Figurath Faith.
Yes.
Dimension 20, at the time of recording, currently has 17 seasons, each varying from 6 episodes to about 20. So Fantasy High is built on the premise, and this is stated from episode 1, what if John Hughes ran a campaign of a tabletop game?
I did love that starter. I was like, yes, this. Yeah,
absolutely.
I can see it.
Yeah, this gives such Breakfast Club vibes.
100%.
From the jump.
Yes.
I'm all about it. It's just a fun way to mix up D&D a little bit, because a lot of shows are like, oh, we're gonna go high fantasy, it's gonna be very medieval kind of gritty thing, and it's like, no, we're in weird anachronistic like 50s/60s high school, but also we have smartphones. You know what, who cares, right? We're gonna have fun, and that's what the show is. It's fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. It does sort of give you that sort of, it's real life, but it's with a fantasy setting. So if you're not sure about going straight into high fantasy, you can kind of use the two, and sort of there are parts where you think, yeah, I recognise that. I recognise the crystals as smartphones. I can see that.
So there was one thing, like about 2 minutes into the show, that I noticed. For people who have experienced playing tabletop role-playing games, you would know pretty much from the jump that they're playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. They make it seems like they make an effort specifically to not mention D&D in episode 1.
Yes, I did notice.
Because every time they mention it, they say a tabletop role-playing game or a TTRPG. They specifically don't mention that they're playing D&D. And I'm wondering if there was a reason behind that at the time.
I'm trying to think.
Not sure.
It was 2018. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time.
I'm trying to think. When you said 2018, I was like, it was that long ago? Oh my gosh.
It was a while ago.
It was. Maybe they thought because of the there are some parts of D&D that you can't mention. Perhaps it would have been easier to just not mention what tabletop roleplay game it was. I don't know. Wizards of the Coast, they're not great at. What am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say. They've been in the news recently, so.
Oh yes.
Yes. Perhaps it was just better not to mention who it was.
That is true, and this also is an interesting point about Dimension 20 is since their seasons are so short and for the most part self-contained, they are not like beholden to any one TTRPG system.
Yes.
Like in future seasons, they've played like Kids on Brooms. There's been a couple other systems that they've played.
I'm trying to remember what Fae and Flowers one was. The Court of Fae and Flowers.
That was D&D, but they added some extra like
there was something extra.
Regency rules.
There was a Regency booklet that they used. It'll come to me when we start doing we roll for that. Whenever that comes up.
We'll eventually get to a Court of Fae and Flowers.
Amazing.
I'm sure. So, full disclosure, this is not my first time watching Fantasy High. This is probably my third or fourth time going through this season of the show. It is amazing to me how much they are able to set up in episode 1. Brennan does a fantastic job of giving every player and character an introductory scene. They get about 5 to 10 minutes each, and it really has a good way of setting up how their character arc is going to go. Like I guess I should say spoilers for
a lot of spoilers. 100% spoilers
are going to be coming in. We can start right with Lou and Fabian. It's immediately apparent from the jump that Fabian idolizes his father, Bill Seacaster.
Yeah.
And it is immediately apparent from the way that Bill Seacaster acts that he expects Fabian to be exactly like him. And it is interesting to then go back to that after having seen like the whole season and even beyond Fantasy High into sophomore year, which I'm sure we'll also talk about at some point, how that changed.
You can the pressure that Fabian is under is very apparent from the get-go with what his father expects him to do and say and be, and how he's supposed to be a mini version of him. There's a lot of pressure, and I think that comes across with Lou's acting a lot.
Absolutely. But yeah, and it's a common through line with, I think, 2/3 of the cast is in their introductory scene. You immediately can tell that they have some sort of familial conflict or struggle.
Yes.
It's right there in Fabian's introduction. You can see it in Kristen, in Adine, in Fig.
Fig especially, definitely.
Fig especially. I could talk about Fig's like journey, and there's a scene towards the end where she finally like comes to terms with like her relationship with her parents, and it's so beautiful. And I want a whole section of this show to be how much I love Emily Axford as a player.
100%.
Oh.
We'll have a little.
She makes me cry. I'm thinking about the scene right now, and I'm like, oh, I might get a little emotional.
I'm not gonna lie, it was the part where Mum comes in with the item for her, wasn't it? Am I thinking of that one?
I think so.
Where she comes in with the photos.
Oh yes.
And yeah, that was there was a moment you could see Emily had the choice of at the very end which way she was going to go, and she actually asked Brennan to sort of sound it out, which I thought was very good. Not just relying on herself and making her own choices, but actually involving other people to say, I need to make this decision, setting it across the table and saying, what do we think?
Another thing that I find interesting is the way that Brennan likes to take certain things about like fantasy tropes and sort of twist them around a little bit. One thing that I noticed going back, especially to episode 1, kind of like the earlier episodes, is they make a point to mention, or he makes a point to mention that elves are immortal. They don't just live for like 700 years.
Oh,
They live
yes.
functionally forever.
Yeah.
As long as they have a connection to their homeland, which isn't explored a lot in the first season of Fantasy High, but it is touched on a little more in sophomore year.
Right.
I liked that so much that I have used stuff like that in my own like home games and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. That's possibly where their power comes from, where their age comes from. So, yeah, it makes sense to base them in a setting, and as long as they're at home, they're going to live forever. That would be, yeah. I must admit, I missed that part. I just heard elves live forever, and I was like, okay, so he's just using that trope. But I missed the part where it was the homeland bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very briefly mentioned, I think, in episode 1. I think in Fabian's introductory scene.
Right.
But it does come back again in later seasons of Fantasy High.
Amazing. Okay.
Speaking of elves, we should talk a little bit about Adine.
Yes. Okay.
So, man, I just had something pop in my head. That's a sophomore year spoiler.
Are we spoiling for other seasons, or are we just
no?
Okay.
No, I am not. Adine's journey, especially with her sister, is very interesting to watch from the jump. It is very immediately confrontational and almost, I would say, uncomfortable.
It is incredibly uncomfortable and violent straight off the bat.
And we don't get to see like everything that has come before. We just see where their relationship is at the start of the show, of course.
Yes.
And it's like, how did it become this way? How did we get here? Another thing about Adine that's interesting is Siobhan and Brendan have developed an extra rule, like a panic attack condition.
They have, yes.
And I was a bit late on jumping on the Dimension 20 train, but I think there was some contention about this rule.
Oh.
And I was wondering, like, I guess I was kind of wondering your thoughts on it, because it was either this or a rule in a different season that had a similar sort of
yes
meaning attached to it.
Yeah. I got you. I mean, I've seen calling back to, I've seen different shows use use almost panic attacks, but then also sort of wisdom saving throws for like seeing fire, and also like the character going into sort of a place back into their memories. I don't think the panic attack one is that one. It's more of a how Adine is feeling at the time. To me personally, it doesn't feel like a panic attack when that's
right.
What they're playing with. They're playing with Adine feeling very panicked, and it's almost like a fear terror response than an actual. I don't want to. Panic attacks are different for everybody, so I don't want to say a general this isn't a panic attack, because for some people it may resonate as a panic attack, but it's more of a fear response. I don't think it ever goes into full panic attack, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think so.
How I understand panic attacks, it doesn't go that far, but it does touch on a little bit of fear, a little bit of you can't control yourself. There is something that's going to happen. Your breathing goes a bit higher, and that sort of. It's very good at how Siobhan responds to the roles is amazing. You really get the feeling that Adine is really feeling it at the time.
Right. And I think this is definitely something that, leans or kind of exemplifies the fact that these players immediately from season 1, episode 1, trust each other and know each other a great deal.
I do have that in my notes.
I don't think you could do this with a table that you're just sort of meeting for the first time.
No.
It's a very touchy
yeah
subject, and I think they handled it well, and they trust each other enough to respect the boundaries of each other as players and as people.
I'm guessing something happened in session 0 to say one of our characters is going to have panic attacks. This is what's going to happen. She'll roll for it and we'll act it out. Is everybody okay with that? But yeah, there's quite a lot that I think probably would have had to go on in session 0 just to make sure everybody's aware. But I do get the feeling that everybody's comfortable with what's going on. Or that's how it's edited anyway.
Oh yes, we should talk about... So this show is a video-based show, first and foremost. They have released audio-only versions of the show.
Right.
But you do miss out on the truly amazing, map and mini work that the Dropout team does for the show.
Yes.
And they have a lot of instances of character art that are, missed when you listen to the audio-only version of the show, which is how I viewed Fantasy High the first time. I listened to it in podcast form while I was at work, and it is definitely, I think it doesn't make it impossible to enjoy. I think it definitely, gives. What am I thinking? It's a very good supplement.
So
but it's not required.
Question for you then: how does it match up? You heard it before you saw it. How does it match up in your head, the descriptions, to the actual minis that you see then on the video?
It's pretty, I would say pretty 1-to-1 what I expected.
Amazing.
When I saw. The only thing that I think the show runs into, there's always a thing of, theater of the mind versus, maps and minis. When you're playing with a map, it's a lot easier to just sit there and go, okay, I move here.
Yes.
And you point to a space on the map. But if somebody's not able to see where you're pointing,
got you, or
for whatever other reason, it kind of makes the sort of overall image a bit muddier, I think.
Yes, you're not sure where they're moving to, why they're moving, what's next to them, that sort of thing, I guess.
And for the most part, I think the show does an okay job of, keeping that to a minimum. But it is a concern, and I would recommend, if you are going to watch Dimension 20, you should watch Dimension 20, not just listen to it.
Yes. I noticed that happening a lot in the arcade fight. There was a lot of, I'm running 30 spaces to here.
Yes.
Which, now you mention it, if you are listening to it, that's going to... it would be a little bit chaotic.
From a technical standpoint, this show is very well edited. It is very professional as a production by a company like College Humor, now Dropout, should hold itself to. There weren't any glaring technical issues in my eyes that I was like, ooh, I don't know about that.
I must admit I'm not technically minded, so I wouldn't have noticed, but I did notice that I don't know if it was jarring to me, but it was when the minis would fall over or they would do something that obviously it wasn't in the heat of the game and it was recorded afterwards. For some reason, I really noticed that, and I was like, that's been recorded afterwards, that's been added.
Oh yeah, they do that a lot with their combats, even to this day with the most recent season of Never After.
Yeah,
they'll kind of do little puppet work with the minis to make it look like they're doing the actions, and it's kind of cute. I think it doesn't really detract from the overall experience that much.
It definitely is cute. It just brought me out of the immersion just slightly. I don't know.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. My brain was going, that's not real. And I was like, okay, back in the immersion again.
Hang on, give us a minute. We have to play with our toys.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you can see the players stand up to move the characters, and then something would happen. And yeah, it was. I don't know why it's fine. It just brought me out, I think, just a little bit occasionally.
Another thing, I just have to say, for me, the bravest thing that Brennan Lee Mulligan has ever said is that Dragonborn have tails.
Did they not?
Technically, people will die on this hill. In the player's handbook for the description of Dragonborn, they do not have tails.
Okay.
And they are more lizard-like than dragon. I'm gonna pull up I'm gonna take a minute and pull up the player's handbook.
Pull up the player's handbook for sure. Is this like the tiefling thing? Like you can't have blue tieflings. Tieflings need to be red.
Yes.
Are we skating on this territory here?
Here we go. Episode 1.
In a fantasy world where anybody can be anything.
Dragonborn look very much like dragons standing erect in humanoid form, though they lack wings or a tail.
Right.
And that's just no fun. Let my little guy have a tail.
Exactly.
Let me do what I want.
How many Dragonborns have you met?
Exactly. How do you know?
How do you know?
And they also do say at the beginning of the player's handbook is, these are guidelines, not hard and fast rules. You can do what you want. It's make-believe.
Is it? Are you sure?
So. Are you sure?
Are you sure about that?
The book says.
The book says.
But no, that was just a funny little thing, especially with the introduction of Vice Principal Golden Horde. He specifically says, "Hey, this guy has a tail," and I went, "You're so real for that."
Oh, so brave! Oh, brave boy!
So brave. How could you say something so controversial? It's so brave.
I love the various nicknames they come up for Golden Horde all the way through.
Vice Principal Goldenrod.
And there were points where I'm like, "Wait, what is this guy's name?"
Every time I go back and listen to the beginning of Fantasy High again, and I hear his actual name, I go,
"Nah."
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
It's like Golden something. I watched it via the. There was a big 12-hour YouTube video of the first 8 episodes.
Yes.
That's how I did, and then I moved on to Dropout. Because I then started watching it on YouTube, but they bleeped out all the swears, and I couldn't handle the bleeping noise.
Yeah, I forgot that they bleeped out all the swears in YouTube.
They don't bleep out the swears, and I'm sure they don't bleep it out in the 12-hour one in the big 8 episodes. But then when you're watching the individual episodes, it then starts bleeping out the swears, and I'm like,
that might be just a I doubt YouTube is going to comb through a 12-hour long video for every swear word.
Maybe.
But, a singular episode of the show, maybe they might have gotten demonetized for or something.
Yeah. So I switched over to Dropout. I was like, okay, I'll just do it on Dropout. I'll watch there. Because the bleeping noise was getting on my nerves.
That's so fair. It probably happened a lot.
I was like, I can't handle this bleeping. What is going on? Because you'd have one of the kids swear at Brennan, then he'd swear black as the character. It just descend into a bleeping match, and I'd be like, okay, I can't do this.
So, all right, we're gonna. So yes, if you are gonna watch or listen to the show, either be okay with a lot of bleeping or subscribe to Dropout.
Subscribe to Dropout.
Is what we're saying here.
Yeah, best advert I could say for the show is just don't watch it on YouTube.
Just don't watch it on YouTube. It is available on YouTube.
It is 100%. Okay, yeah.
If you are okay with the bleep sound effect and you don't have the extra income to spend on a monthly subscription to a streaming service, Fantasy High Season 1, as well as a couple other full seasons of Dimension 20 are available on YouTube.
And once
as well as the first episodes of most of their other shows.
Yes, I think Crown of Candy is on there.
Yes, the first episode of I think all the way up to Never After. I think the first episode is on the Dimension 20 YouTube channel. But they only have full seasons for Fantasy High Escape from the Bloodkeep, which is the next season, and then The Unsleeping City, which
Right.
is season 3.
Got you.
So
Nice.
why don't we go through and say what our favorite moment from the season was?
Oh, wow. Okay. I've got to pick. Do I pick one?
Let's say maybe top 3.
Oh, top 3. Okay. Yep. Okay. Who's going to go first?
Oh man, I'll start. We'll go
We'll do
like
one-
I'll do my 3,
alternate.
and you do your 3.
Okay.
And then I'll do 2. You do 2.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So my third favorite moment is, honestly, the first combat when Fabian tries to jump up on a table, rolls a nat 1, and immediately falls and faceplants.
Faceplants. There was something about that table.
There was something you know what? I think we're not exploring the possibility that the table was the bad guy all along.
I think, yep, the table's a BBEG for definite. I'm pretty sure it comes back to haunt them later as well. There's like a little that goes through. I'm pretty sure like, there's something about we're okay with this, but we can't do tables or something is mentioned.
What's your number 3?
Oh gosh, wow. I'm just looking through the bits I liked. Could it be a skit that goes all the way through?
Yes.
Because I really love when Zach fully leans into Gorg's personality and has to make the wisdom saving throws, and every NPC is being asked if it's his father.
There's a compilation on YouTube of all those moments.
Amazing.
And that is what got me to listen to Dimension 20.
Yes.
Because it was so funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need context for this.
It works so good in top context for sure.
There's a moment about halfway through the show that he gets a nat 1 on an insight check and immediately just blurts out, "Am I my own dad?"
Yes. I'm my own dad.
That's I think that's actually my number 2 is the immediately stopping playing the drums to go, "Am I my own dad?" Oh, so good. Number 2 for you?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm still looking through. I think it's the jail scenes when they're in jail.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And the amount of chaos they try to get out of jail, and Brennan's just like, "No, you're in jail."
You're just here now.
Yep.
There are several moments when they're in the jail that are very good.
Emily.
Obviously heavy spoilers because that's very late in the game.
It is, yes.
The moment when Fabian and his father have like their first real sort of fight conflict. It was very, emotionally charged and very heavy, and the players handled it very well. It had all the tension it needed to. It was a very I'm not sure if cathartic is the right word.
I think it was for, you can see that Fabian, it was cathartic for definite.
Also, the introduction of, or the return of Bud Cubby, the halfling mailman.
Yes.
Such a good NPC. The NPCs overall in this show are all fantastic.
The little speech he gives is currently trending on my TikTok at the moment because I think I've looked for that for so many times.
Absolutely.
And I think Emily's changing, Fig's changing into the various different NPCs to try and convince them that they obviously to let her out type thing. It just caused chaos.
Giving Emily Axford spells, she becomes a menace from day 1.
100%.
In her introductory scene, immediately abusing disguise self to try to get out of something.
Yes. The disguise self it's probably one of the better spells, I'm gonna say. And especially in a player's hands such as Emily, she can just cause so much chaos with it.
So for my number 1 favorite moment, there's 2 I could probably pick from, but I want to say, we didn't even talk about the Box of Doom.
No.
I want to take a quick
quick
and
aside.
talk
Quick
about,
aside for the Box of Doom. Go for it.
Quick aside for the Box of Doom. This is a, for very important game-changing roles where everything hangs in the balance, Brennan Lee Mulligan brings out what is known as the Box of Doom.
Yes.
It's a very large dice tray with a big skull design, and they have a little GoPro set up at the bottom of the overhanging skull piece to get the camera shot of the dice being rolled into the tray.
Yeah.
It is such a good suspense building tool because they don't really cut too hard for Brennan going out. He literally leaves his station at the DM screen to go pull out the Box of Doom. It gives the players a chance to go, oh man,
Yeah.
And they do a very good job of setting the suspense and immediately getting the payoff of seeing the rolls. And there are moments when they specifically hide the roll and don't show it even to the audience, and those are the best moments. I think. But my number one moment has to go to the Box of Doom roll in the arcade fight when Fabian has to roll a nat 20.
Yes.
The excitement and the energy at the table
was
so infectious, and it was such a good moment. And it was followed up on perfectly. I think it was just executed very well, and it was a very good. This is one of the moments I point to when I say this is why I play TTRPGs.
Yes, for moments like this. Yeah, I have heard someone describing the Box of Doom as almost stopping all the chaos of the play and just zeroing in on one moment and just paying attention so much to that one important role.
Yes, because that is a common occurrence for Dimension 20 is they get very lost in the sauce when it comes to certain bits sometimes, and it's very funny because they are all master comedians and improv people, and they're very good at what they do. But it like you said, yes, it does make those moments when they have to go, oh, it's serious time,
serious,
feel much more impactful.
Yes, definitely. I love it.
What's your number one moment?
Okay, my number one moment is also a nat 20. It's Kirsten's nat 20 at the end battle at Prompocalypse.
That was going to be my other one. I was like, I have two here.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
It's oh my gosh, it is heart-stopping. I could feel myself cheering and with them as Ali rolled that, and I was just, please be a nat 20 or please be something good. Oh my gosh, yes.
Ali Beardsley's ability to roll a natural 20 at the thing about Ali Beardsley is their rolls are so one end of the spectrum or the other.
Yes.
It will either be just useless nothing rolls or nat 20s.
It was just a random question as well.
Yeah. It was totally off the cuff. Can I roll a nat 20 and just be alive magically right now?
Yeah.
And truly it is a testament to Brennan Lee Mulligan's patience as a DM and willingness to go with the bit that he just says, yeah, sure.
Yeah, do it.
Why not? You know what? There's no way you're going to just do that, right?
Statistically.
Wrong, Mr. Mulligan. Wrong.
So wrong.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
But it is, to this day, I think, probably a top 5 overall Dimension 20 moment.
Yeah.
That is such a hard thing to top.
Yeah. The other top one for me would have been the palatable tension that you could feel when Brennan has explained and he's rolling for the family fights.
Oh man, yeah.
Just when Lou is talking out his feelings and then the camera cuts to Zach just physically and visibly hugging himself while Brennan is making all these rolls. and then cutting to each person individually. And I just couldn't take it. I was there with them. I was sweating.
Absolutely. I agree. But yeah, that is, a brief overview of Dimension 20 Fantasy High.
It is.
I think we can both pretty firmly say that this season of the show is worth a watch. Very worth your time.
Yes, 100%.
There are 18 episodes.
Yes.
I think sounds about right.
The last episode is cut into 2, so
yes,
there's a part 1 and a part 2.
So there are 18 episodes of Fantasy High. They are free to view on YouTube or on College Humor's Dropout service, which is $5.99 a month, I believe. We are not. I should also mention we are not sponsored by Dropout.
Not yet.
But I do firmly believe that it is one of the best streaming services out there, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
If you have a friend that has a Dropout subscription, they also have gone on record to say, hey, we don't mind if you just share your password with people.
Love it.
So get your friends Dropout passwords.
Steal their passwords.
Steal your friend's personal information. No. Sorry, hang on. I just got an email. Oh, we're being sued.
Okay, cool. Already.
Yeah,
wow.
Okay, cool.
We are off the air already.
We are recording episode 1.
We are not even there, and we're still recording. We're already off.
No, don't steal people's personal information. Just ask nicely. Hey, can I borrow your Dropout password?
Yeah. Can I try it?
And I'm sure if they're a good friend, they'll say yes.
Definitely.
All right, we are going to take a quick break for some ads, and then we'll be back with another segment of the show. Hey folks, we just want to take a break from the action to let you know how you can support the show. As part of Bard Rock Network, you can support us through a number of affiliate programs where a portion of your order goes to support the network. Everyone loves dice, right? Fanroll Dice make dice of all shapes and sizes, as well as accessories like trays, bags, and towers. Or maybe you want to take better campaign notes. Just check out Minva RPG and look at their assortment of campaign journals and tools. Finally, you can level up your game night with tea or coffee from Many Worlds Tavern. In addition to delicious tea and coffee, they have stickers, tokens for your favorite trading card games, and playmats. Qualifying orders even come with free dice. All those affiliate links can be found in the show notes, and you just need to use code BardRockCafe at checkout to save on your order. That's BardRockCafe, all capitals, no spaces. All right, and we're back. So, for this segment of the show, since I figured it would be a pretty short show if we just talked about one thing, I've come up with a segment I like to call Dear Aboleth. Might play a little. Let's see if we get a little musical jingle
we need
in
a
there.
jingle,
Editor,
for sure.
Editor, that's me in the future. You got a little jingle for me? Thank you. Okay.
Future you is going to hate you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dear Aboleth is going to be a segment of the show where we take, questions or asking for advice from our listeners.
Okay.
In the style of the Dear Abby newspaper column that has been running for a very long time.
Yes.
So we have actually one as an example to our adoring public. And this one says, Dear Aboleth, my friends told me a beholder was flirting with me at the tavern last night, and I should have known from all the winking. I have no idea what it looks like when a beholder winks. Can you clear that up for me? And give me guidance on how to romance a beholder. From Bewildered by Beholders in Baldur's Gate.
I love it.
Well, Bewildered, I don't think I've ever been hit on by a beholder before. That is...
Yeah, I can't say I have either. Do all the eyes blink at the same time?
So that's the question, right? When it winks. Well, when a beholder blinks, do all the eye stalks blink at the same time? And if it's winking, does it use the big eye? or is it one of the stocks?
Perhaps there's different levels. So when the beholder's really into you, it winks the first eye, the big eye in the middle, because that's the one that shuts off all the magic in front, the cone. So I think a beholder would have to be really into you to leave itself vulnerable and wink its first eye.
If it's winking, if it's blinking with just the big eye, that's how you know.
I think so.
I would say.
Yeah. And then for the guidance cantrip, unfortunately, I'm not a cleric. However, if you do find a cleric and ask them for guidance, I'm pretty sure they'd be able to give you the guidance cantrip.
If you reciprocate these feelings to the beholder and you're looking for advice on how to romance a beholder, give them a crisp apple. That way you can be the apple of their eyes.
Oh, I love it. The puns.
How about that? That's so good, right?
I like it.
All right. Well, this has been an example of Dear Aboleth. If you would like to submit your questions and queries,
please do.
We have a Google form that we will link in the show notes. And we will put on our social media accounts. So please send us your questions, and we will attempt to answer them.
Definitely. We'll definitely attempt. We'll do something.
All right. So that's been Dear Aboleth. Okay. So we've come to the end of our show, and we've developed a fun system. We have a D20 table in front of us with a list of 20 different actual play shows, and we are going to roll for the topic of episode 2.
Okay.
This list will be, repopulated as we get more shows suggested to us, and we go through the table. Vicky, would you like to do the honors of our first ever roll?
Yeah.
To see what we talked about in episode
no pressure.
2?
Oh, okay.
No pressure.
It's a 16.
16 is Moon Harbor. So for those of you at home who want to listen along with us before episode 2, Moon Harbor Heroes is a Masks, a New Generation actual play podcast hosted by Anthony Sheets and T.P. Huth. I hope I said that right. I probably didn't. I apologize. Moon Harbor Heroes tells the stories of several groups of superpowered even teenagers as they balance navigating the tumultuous world of adolescence and saving the world at large.
Nice.
Episodes are published each Monday and Wednesday with occasional Friday episodes as well. So for episode 2, we will be discussing the Legacies campaign of Moon Harbor Heroes.
Let's do it.
This goes for 14 episodes as of the time of recording of this.
Yeah.
And each episode is about an hour and a half long.
Let's do it. This looks fun.
All right. This does look fun. I can't wait. I can't believe it only took us to episode 2 to get away from D&D.
I know. Wow.
This is exciting.
It's very exciting.
I have played Masks once before and had a good time with it. So this should be
amazing.
A very good listen.
Yes.
So that has been episode 1 of College of Whispers. Wow. I'm so glad you could join us on this, our maiden voyage, if you will.
What a voyage. Wow. Started with Fancy High.
We have so much to cover. There, like I said at the beginning, there are so many actual plays out there.
That we
cannot possibly find them all on our own.
Nope.
So if you want to give us suggestions of shows to cover, please find us on Twitter at WhispersDNDPod. And that's our only social media right now. I need to make more accounts.
Definitely. Yes, please. Send us your actual plays, your favourite actual plays, any actual plays that you think we should check out. Please do send them over to us.
You want to tell the people where they can find you?
Oh, no, I don't know where they can find me. I'm currently going through a transition, so they can find me at College at Whispers at the moment.
Fair enough. Hey, that works out. Find us both at Whispers D&D Pod on Twitter and right here in your podcast feed.
Yes.
For College of Whispers.
That's us.
So thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. I promise we'll have a better tagline for next episode. See you next time.
See you next time. Take care. Goodbye. We did it. We did episode 1. Oh my gosh. Can I stop? I should stop recording now.
Thanks for listening to College of Whispers. Our intro and outro song is Everything by Winter Wayfarer. Check them out on all major streaming platforms. You can find College of Whispers on social media at all the relevant places listed in the show notes. College of Whispers is a Bard Rock Network production. Learn more about the network in the show notes and on social media.
Thank you for checking out our show. As a reminder, we're part of Bard Rock Network, who you can support by checking out our sponsor, Dragon Master Games. Support a local game store, get yourself some TTRPG essentials, and help the network produce more excellent content. It really makes a difference. Our show and all the other shows on Bard Rock Network wouldn't be possible without the support of people like you on our Patreon and Ko-fi. That's why we like to thank supporters who pledge above a certain tier at the end of network productions. This month's top supporters are Sarah, Queen, Vera Lore, and Paul. Thank you all so much for supporting the network. If you want to get shoutouts and other rewards, pledge on our Patreon or Ko-fi today. Links in the show notes.
Most folks don't realize it, but the world is ripe with monsters. And when you have a monster problem, you need someone who is smart.
I came over here, I saw that there was a crime scene. I figured, I'd park here on the
crime scene.
Brave.
It's just not our fight. We just honk the horn, everybody dissipates, and we just ride away.
And qualified.
If nobody is going to assist David with this, he is going to pull out his nunchucks.
Who gave him those nunchucks?
Van Helmen's family is none of those things, but they're the best we've got, so check them out on Monster Cafe. Available now wherever you find your favorite podcasts.